G'day there guys, only watches these videos for the introductions and then immediately clicks off them. Back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA hole. Now if you love me like I love you, I want you to click like on this video, sit back, relax and enjoy this bloody good content. Posted by user throwaway99885758. Titled, Am I the a-hole for saving one sister's life and not the other? Unlike most insane titles on this sub, this one isn't hyperbolic, unfortunately. I, 22 female, have little identical half-sisters who are 16, who both have serious kidney issues. They have both sadly reached a point where without a kidney transplant, their quality of life will continue to decline and they might not see the other side of 20. Obviously, myself and my mum are devastated with this news. It wasn't expected that they would be in this position so young. For some background, one of my sisters, Sarah, is very much the tomboy like me. We are really close and enjoy a lot of the same things. We're like two peas in a pod. That's not to say I don't love my other sister Jade, but we simply aren't as close. She's a little more girly, doesn't have as many shared interests as me and Sarah do, and so we just don't hang out as often. I also don't see Jade as much in general. Sarah doesn't like her dad's wife, and so she spends less time with them, while Jade adores her, so she has always spent more time at her dad's place. Both my mum, my dad, and both of the girls were totally happy with this setup. Jade also begged to go to a particular boarding school, so I don't see her nearly as much as Sarah, nor have I for a very long time. Maybe one weekend a month for the last couple of years, and some more over summer holidays. I still love her dearly, but I hope it's understandable now that I'm just much closer with Sarah. We were equally close until Jade started doing her own thing and making choices for herself, and I don't in any way begrudge that. I wouldn't say me and Jade don't get along, but there have definitely been some big spats over the years. We all got tested to see if it would be possible to do liver donations, and I'm the only match. Unfortunately, I obviously only have 2 kidneys, and I can only save one of my sisters. There's every chance they might get a kidney from somewhere else, but right now they aren't a priority and aren't high on the transplant list. I basically told my mum, who told their dad, that I want to donate my kidneys to Sarah. I thought about it so much. I know this means I am undeniably saying I love Sarah more than Jade, and I guess I do. Unsurprisingly, all hell broke loose about how I could do this to Jade. How could I be so cruel? Why would I do this? And how can I just play with their lives? I've been getting calls and texts from everyone who knows about this. As far as I know, neither Sarah or Jade have been told. I get it. I'm playing God here, but it's my kidney. Yeah, I feel like scum for choosing one sister over the other, but one is my best friend, and the other one is, well, not. I feel like a monster for saying it, and I know on a fundamental level it's wrong. Part of me wanted to flip a coin or something, but I couldn't. My whole family seems to be demonizing me for making this choice. Sorry if it's confusing, the character count cut me off. Edit, for some repeated questions. Currently, their doctors can't tell who will deteriorate faster. They are currently at similar ages, and their most recent results have given no insight into whether or not Sarah or Jane will be worse off. Only time will tell, but their current treatments are harsh on their organs, so there is an element of urgency that makes us reluctant to just wait to see who gets sicker faster. If it came down to Jade needing a kidney next week, and Sarah not needing one until next year, I would obviously donate to Jade, and hold out hope that Sarah will get another donor. I have suggested setting up a donor chain to my mum, but this has all happened recently, so it's still up in the air. I have only been confirmed as a match, and I haven't passed through all the other checkpoints in testing. There is a very real chance that I can't donate at all in the end, which is why I only told my mum and not my sisters about how I felt. To be explicitly clear, as this question comes up a lot, I don't think either deserves to die. Their parents are undeniably advocating for me to choose Jade, who has, and I quote, such a bright future. But they just haven't said it explicitly. I'm not choosing Sarah because she deserves it. I'm choosing Sarah because I want to save her life. Jade has always been, shall we say, unkind to a lot of people, and her dad has always acted like that's her right. If I could save both, I would. If I can only save one, and the doctors have no explicit results to say one needs it urgently, I would choose to save the one I love, not just the one I share blood with. I personally think I'm an a-hole. I think that if you looked past the kudos for trying to donate a kidney, I think I'm doing something wrong. It just isn't enough to make me change how I feel, and I was hoping to get an impartial insight here, as I obviously can't get one from my family. This is a really hard one, but the fact that they've laid it all out on the table like that, I have really no choice in my mind but to agree with her, and I don't think she's an a-hole. She's been completely transparent. She hasn't told one or the other that, I'm choosing you over you, and that's such a hard decision to make. And I was going to say, she was an a-hole either way, but it's obvious the parents have a favorite here, and OP is not going with their favorites. Of course they're biased, and will think that OP is an a-hole for not saving their favorite child, but I think OP is not the a-hole. No a-holes here. It's a crappy situation. Assuming both their health risks are similar, then I don't see a problem with choosing one. And I also understand why everyone is freaking out. But it probably would have been better to lie and say you flipped a coin, because Jade is going to be heartbroken when she finds out, if she doesn't already know, which she probably does, since other people know. OP says, currently they have the same risks and are deteriorating at the same rate, so there is no apparent medical basis to choose one over the other, which is why this is so hard. If Jade had weeks and Sarah had years, then it would be a no-brainer. Frankly, had I said I flipped a coin, I think they would have gone ape crap because I made a life decision on a coin flip. It feels like people are ticked with me because I only have one kidney going to spare. The part that hurts me the most, I think, is that I'm being judged for choosing Sarah. But I sort of think that's because Jade is the golden child. She's an absolute superstar at everything she does, she really is, and she works really hard at it too. Sarah is a bit more reserved and quiet, and while she doesn't do poorly, she isn't a straight-A student either. I think the term is a wallflower maybe? But she certainly has never been doted on as much as Jade. This favoritism is part of the reason Sarah doesn't like to go to her dad's. My gut is telling me people are more devastated that the good child is the one not being picked. And it makes me sick to think that had I said that I had chosen Jade, people would have called me a hero. Nobody has really talked about how else I should have picked, like flipping a coin or asking the doctors. Everyone keeps focusing on how I could pick Sarah over Jade. Why don't I love Jade? Why does Jade deserve to die? Edit, to be clear, I don't believe Sarah deserves to live any more than Jade. It is entirely my decision based on who I want, for myself, to live more. I don't want Jade to die, but I want Sarah to die less. My point about what other people were saying is that their own parents are acting like Jade deserves my kidney more because of her bright future. I would be tempted to ask them bluntly, should I donate my kidneys to Jade instead of Sarah? And ask them to explain why. If they're just being irrational because of grief and don't want to think about how you can only choose one, that might knock some sense into them. If they honestly believe Jade deserves to live more than Sarah, well, that's something you should know too. Kidney Doctor here, trying to hijack the top comment to try to emphasize something which I don't think was said before. You don't die just because your kidneys fail at all. You have options. You can choose between hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis, and then you wait for a transplant. Nowadays, people can live many, many years while on dialysis. I have seen some live around 40 years while having a normal life, working, having children, and much more. Yes, your quality of life decreases, and yes, of course a transplant is the best option. But not being able to have one right away is not the end of the world. Just wanted OP to know that. Best of luck, OP. Update: am I the a-hole for saving one sister's life and not the other? I've gotten a lot of requests for an update, so here we are. I posted a couple of months ago about my sisters Sarah and Jade, twins, who both need kidney transplants, and I was the only match in our family. To cut a long story short, they both got kidneys, they each got one from the same donor. Our family got to meet the family of the donor, and it was really emotional and amazing, and they are both recovering well. However, before that, a lot of stuff went down that I wanted to update you on. There is now understandably massive divides in the family because of how my mum and the girl's dad outright demanded I give my kidney to Jade because she was the golden child with a bright future, while Sarah was just effectively mediocre. I feel less bad now saying this because she's on the road to recovery, but Jade is and was a flaming a-hole who made Sarah's life hell. I presumed Sarah chose to spend most of her time with Mum because we were so close, but it was mostly because of how Jade treated her like dirt, and their dad and stepmom thought it was basically Jade's right as the superior being or some bullcrap. I ended up not being allowed to donate, but before this, as many suggested, I spoke to my sisters about my decision. Sarah broke down in tears because it was the first time she ever felt somebody put her first. She told me stories of the things that Jade did with their dad's approval, and I was livid. She said if she was my choice, she wouldn't feel guilty knowing that it might mean Jade won't get a kidney. I made it clear that I chose her because she is good and amazing and I loved her, not because Jade was a horrible person. I then spoke to Jade, and calmly explained that I had to pick, and well, as she knew, we weren't very close, and Sarah was a kindred spirit that I was always with. I wasn't surprised that she was mad. I mean, how else would you react? But I didn't expect her to spew such hate that I'm wasting my kidney. And I'm probably an a-hole for it, but I didn't care if she was sick. I effectively said if she hadn't been such a nasty tramp her whole life, maybe she wouldn't be dealing with this. And it's a shame that she might have only learned on what may be her deathbed that she won't always be everyone's favorite, and she can't treat her own sister like dirt. I have never simultaneously felt so happy and so guilty for getting something off my chest. Due to character count, I can't explain the crap she did, but it's horrific. In any case, about 2 weeks after that, Jade asked me to come visit her and said she thought about what I said, and I apologized and explained what I knew about everything she had done, as well as the fact that Sarah had already resigned herself to death because she knew the whole family would put Jade first. After many tears, things seem to be okay now. She's slowly mending bridges with Sarah. Sarah will be moving in with me soon, so she can finally have a home where she comes first. Jade said she would like to visit sometime too. So yeah, all wrapped up. Edit. So apparently I can exceed the count after this post is up. First, I'm definitely skeptical of Jade's sudden change of heart. I totally respect situations like these can have profound effects on people, but I can't fathom being that horrific to anybody and suddenly be a whole different person when you get caught. I will support her in good faith, but will do my best to keep my eyes wide open for anything suspicious that makes me think she isn't being sincere. Obviously, a lot of people are asking about the things Jade did, and I can't share all of them because of the rules. But when they were still in the same school, things were particularly bad. But the pattern continued when they were at home together. I don't want to talk about everything in detail, but it would be things like taking Sarah's food and calling her fat. Sarah is absolutely not fat. As in, she would grab Sarah's dinner and throw it in the bin, then proceed to eat her own food. She would sometimes do this in school as well, so other people started calling her fat. They shared a bedroom, and Jade used to deprive Sarah of sleep. Jade would wear earplugs and set alarms randomly. Anytime Jade woke up, she would just go over and shake Sarah awake, then go back to sleep herself. She would wait until just before school to go to Sarah's bag and rip up her homework or assignments. Sarah said she mostly stopped doing homework the night before and just did it in between periods where Jade couldn't do it anymore. Some other things would include hiding the tampons and pads at their dad's house. They weren't supposed to go to the master bedroom, and Sarah would be screamed at for stealing their stepmom's tampons. Edit 2. I felt I need to make this edit to make it clear that kidney failure in general is not a massive death sentence. As I have learned a lot since my original post, there are amazing treatments that can let people suffering from kidney problems have decent quality of life, and I don't want to misconstrue the reality of having kidney problems before I terrify anybody reading this story. My on your deathbed remark was, to call it what it is, very over the top and a result of strong emotions, and I did apologize for being so needlessly dramatic to Jade. Not the a-hole. It sounds like you may have said something to Jade that she needed to hear. You know what's way worse and more toxic than being straightforward to someone, even if it's unpleasant? Holding in ill feelings and letting it fester, as there is no resolution to those feelings without talking it out. I hope you're right. You handled this incredibly tough situation so well, OP. I'm really happy things are starting to get better for all of you. Definitely not the a-hole, and you're awesome. Posted by user, yeah, no way buddy. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-wife, that I, and by extension my daughter, will have no relationship with her? I'll try to keep it short and sweet. My ex-husband cheated on me with his current wife, we divorced, they got together and had a baby. Well, it's some years past that point, and surprise, surprise, he has done it again. He and his wife are getting a divorce, and he's probably going to marry his new affair partner within the next 6 months if he follows the pattern. More power to him and his penis. I literally do not care what he does with his life anymore. But I was pretty shocked to discover that his wife reached out to me, basically crying about what happened, how she couldn't believe it, and how now that we're in the same camp, so to speak, we should maintain a relationship so our daughters can still be in each other's lives, and so we can commiserate. Yeah, I told her to take a hike, and that if our mutual ex wants our daughters to hang out, I was more than happy to schedule his visitation at the same time as hers, so the girls could be together with their father. But that there was no way I was setting up sleepovers and playdates with her. I'm not bitter about it anymore, I'm remarried, etc. But I just want nothing to do with her. I haven't since the affair. She about lost it, crying even more about how I would keep our girls apart because we both know the ex-husband barely keeps up with visitation, blah blah, and how he gets when he's in a new relationship, you know? Yes, now we both know. But before, only I knew, and she didn't seem too sympathetic about my end. She brought up how when she started up with my ex, she didn't know that he was married, so I shouldn't hold it against her. And he's the one who cheated, not her. But I really don't care about any of that. Anyway, she obviously called me an a-hole, though not in so many words. My sister is also saying I should think about my daughter's potential relationship with her half-sibling, but I think that should be on her father to orchestrate if it's important for him that his children bond and have a relationship. So, lay it on me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Popular questions. My daughter is 8, almost 9, and her daughter is close to 7, either about to turn or just turned. My daughter is completely indifferent to her half-sister on her dad's side for various reasons, explained in the comments. But suffice to say, the indifference isn't new. They don't have and never had a sisterly relationship according to my daughter. She does not have any specific desire to see her, but is presumably fine seeing her while they are both with their father. But if she did want to hang out with her, we would make it happen. Edit. Also asked about the state of schedule. My daughter sees her father generously 8 to 10 times a year, never more than a week, usually for a day or two. Between 2 to 4 of those are with his wife and daughter. This is likely to decrease slightly since he's in a new relationship. Assuming the same pattern continues, the girls will probably still see each other at least 3 times a year, a bit in the summer, for one fall holiday, and for Father's Day. I've also encouraged her in the past to attend the daughter's birthday parties at least briefly. My daughter is very close with my other daughter and her stepfather, which likely contributes to her disinterest, but isn't something I can really control. I've never badmouthed her father, his wife, or other sister, but they just don't really sit prominently on our day-to-day radar. I guess my take from this one is not the a-hole. I don't get why she's so bitter. Like, this is something you could have easily seen coming. If he's willing to cheat with you, he's going to cheat on you. I feel like that's something you could see coming from a mile away. And the daughter is obviously indifferent, she doesn't care, so I don't know why this woman is making such a big deal about the children's bonding together. I don't get that. It's obvious that they don't get along that well, and they don't want to see each other, so OP is not the a-hole. Update: am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-wife, that I, and by extension my daughter, will have no relationship with her? After reading all the replies to my last post, I decided to sit my daughter down again just to make absolutely sure she wasn't interested in spending time with her half-sister outside of going to her father's. I explained to her that her feelings are the only ones that matter to me about it, not mine, not her stepmom's, and not her dad's. She once again said that she doesn't want to lose her time with her friends or other people that she likes, to have to hang out with her half-sister, and that seeing her at their dad's is enough for her. I reminded her that they are siblings, and she rolled her eyes, and once again asked if she could go play Switch. That seems settled for now. Since it's summer, I tried to orchestrate a time for us all to talk about when the girls could possibly go to their fathers, but during that meetup, a bunch of other stuff erupted. Surprising no one, my ex-husband's new girlfriend is in fact pregnant, and they have plans to move in together. His soon-to-be ex-wife had a meltdown, and now their daughter is staying with his ex's mother indefinitely. She tried to reach out to me again, but this time I didn't even bother responding. Their divorce is already turning into a crap show, and frankly, I want no part in any of it, including subjecting my daughter to it. Fortunately, my ex doesn't seem to be bothered by the current prospect of not seeing either of his daughters for the next few months. For now, he takes my daughter out on day trips, and maybe once a month he'll take them out together during the summer if his ex is allowing him to see her, which currently she's not. I do feel badly for the little girl whose life is being torn apart, especially since she's old enough to have these memories imprinted on her. I do feel fortunate that my daughter was too young to remember my divorce, though it wasn't this acrimonious. Still, my family and I are going to stay the course of our life and try to stay away from the current dumpster fire that's happening over there. Once things settle down, I'm still open to working out visitation such that all the children can see one another, but I won't have a direct relationship with my husband's new ex or his daughter for the foreseeable future. It always amuses me when women who met their partner whilst he was in a relationship and were happy for him to cheat with her are then surprised when he does the same to them. As the saying goes, when a man marries his mistress, he creates a vacancy. It's surprising, and then it's not. They always convince themselves that they are very special people, with very special reasons for getting involved with a married man. And of course he isn't going to cheat on me like he cheated with me, because I am very special, and will fix him with my specialness. The wife is not very special, and that's why she got cheated on. If you read enough Why I Cheated stories, you'll learn quickly that they are not very special, even a little bit, and that all of their stories are pretty much the same. My ex-husband's affair partner sold a t-shirt online with her face on it, men's sizes only. She is very special. Posted by user, don't know what to say. Titled, Am I the a-hole if I kick my brother, 30 male, the golden child, out for cursing at me in my own house where he doesn't pay or do anything? While I, 28 female, was looking for a job, my brother 30 offered to help and I moved in with him. I was so grateful. I cleaned the house, prepared our meals, did everything around the house. My boyfriend, 29, felt responsible for me and brought bags of groceries every day to compensate for what I ate. After a month, I threw away a trash bin swarming with worms. I replaced it with the exact same thing. My brother told me I had no right and kicked me out. I moved in with my boyfriend. The next day my mother called, and I never tell her anything. She said, "It is your fault, it is his house. You don't have the right to his stuff. He is your brother. You gotta obey him. Not long after, I found an amazing job and house. Boyfriend and I moved in together. I wanted to help my brother and told him that he could live with us for a couple of months, save money, and move into a better place. I told him not to worry about the rent and other utilities because we are family. He did nothing around the house. I bought a TV my brother became obsessed with. He would watch TV all day every day. One day, I told my brother dinner was ready. He turned the TV on and left the room. I was laying the table and I opened a news channel. He came back and complained, switched the channel back. I told him we should watch something that we can all enjoy. He insisted that he came first. He was going to watch what he wanted to watch. I told him to switch back. He did not. I told him to give me the remote control, and he did not. After demanding the remote control the 10th time, he threw it on the floor. I told him he cannot throw stuff in my house because it did not belong to him. I told him that he was not doing anything in the house to help, but at least let us rest and enjoy our day while we can. For context, my boyfriend and I both study for our postgraduates, have jobs, and work in the house. He screamed and cursed. Next day, my mother called and asked what happened, and I refused to answer. She then told me it was my fault and told me to be polite to him because he was a guest. He was my brother, and I got to obey him. 2 weeks ago, I broke my ankle. Last Friday, I was working on my assignment with this excruciating pain in my ankle. My mother called, and I refused to make a comment on the fight. She then started to cry, saying that the brother had to order takeout. We did not have food. I then realized I was so busy working and trying to make it to the deadline that I forgot to eat. It was not important, of course. My brother had to order takeout. Unthinkable. Today, my brother said, "As your brother, I came and am apologizing for cursing at you. I know I am right in the fight, so I expect you to apologize." I told him I did nothing wrong and was not going to apologize. He told me I was sick in the head. He was saying things as if my mother was talking. He told me I had narcissistic personality disorder. He was done and I was dead to him. My boyfriend told me that my brother suffers from favoritism. Am I the a-hole if I want to cut contact with them and kick him out of my house? No, I mean, like, if you want to cut contact with your mum and your brother, more power to you, OP. What is this baby doing in your house? Oh no, he's not paying rent and you didn't buy food, so he has to starve. Oh wait, no, he has to order takeout. I'm losing brain cells here, OP. I'm really losing brain cells. Man needs to just be kicked out, let him go live by himself, let him find his better place now that he's had time to do it, and he can go spread his wings if he wants. That's cool with me, but you're not the a-hole, and I suggest you do kick him out and cut contact. Not the a-hole. Because it's your brother's house, you have to obey him. Don't even get me started on that. And now he's in your house, and you still have to obey him because he's your brother? No, it's because he's a man and your mum is encouraging this misogynistic BS. He can go live with her if she's that concerned. Well, that's my sexist mother there. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I think you've been more than nice letting him stay with you, even after the way he treated you before. I just want a normal, happy family. You're going to have to try to build that with your boyfriend, because unfortunately, your mother and brother aren't it. Boyfriend is a keeper. Nice, OP, I'm happy for you. Update. Am I the a-hole if I kick my brother out for cursing at me in my own house where he doesn't pay or do anything? Hello, Reddit. After reading your comments and discussing them with my boyfriend, I decided to call my mother and explain what really happened. So I called and tried to tell them the story from my perspective. I started off by saying that I am not her and her worldviews do not necessarily reflect mine. She interrupted me 100 times as she does. She did not even try to see things from my side. As we all guessed, she sided with my brother. It was a 1-hour call, so I might skip certain things, But I remember her blaming me for leaving food in the refrigerator for my brother. Apparently, paying the bills, cleaning, doing the laundry, and cooking are not enough. I also have to call him to the table and make sure he does eat. Her exact words were, "You are treating him as if he's a stray dog." I will let this sink in for you guys. Surprisingly, she did not know that my brother does not pay for anything. It's very convenient my brother forgot to tell her this. She denied always siding with him, and I told her to give me one example when she sided with me. She could not. Well, of course. At the end of our call, I told her I'm used to not having a mother in my life, but if she truly loves my brother, she should stop spoiling him. He never had a girlfriend, doesn't have friends, and is the most selfish person I have ever seen. He expects everything to be served on a silver platter. She was shocked, as if she never realized that my brother doesn't have anyone beside us. I told her to think about what I told her and call me back in 2 hours if she agrees with me. She did call to my surprise, and told me that I'm a very compassionate and a good-hearted girl. This could be the very first time she ever said something nice about me. I thanked her and asked for a favor, but she will have to accept beforehand. She agreed, and I told her to stay out of our arguments with my brother. He always thinks he's in the right because she sides with him unconditionally. It's always 2 versus 1 against me. We will see if she keeps her promise. Later that night, I walked in my brother's room and told him I was hurt, not because he threw the TV remote or not following the rules, but because I don't deserve to be called names in my own house at the age of 28. He apologized for swearing and screaming and agreed not to do that anymore. I told him I am not the sole decision maker in our house, and I have to respect my boyfriend's wishes as well. Since he's been a burden for us emotionally, financially, and physically, we both appreciate if he could find his own place as soon as possible. I told him, even though he kicked me out, I will never do that to him. Boyfriend told me he can stay with us until he finds his own place. He is still with us, he tries to help around the house, and yesterday he asked if he could watch TV. Lol? Boyfriend knows he's a keeper now. Thank you all for your kind words, and I apologize if I offended anyone in any way. Hopefully your mum will stick to her word. Old habits are hard to break, but it sounds like what you said made an impact. You and your boyfriend are incredibly generous people, and I hope everything works out. Thank you. Coming back to this, sorry it's so much later, but remember, it'll be hard for her to break these old habits. So if there is a time where she gets involved, just remind her of that conversation and that you don't need to talk to her about it. It's highly unlikely that she will keep her promise because she never does. I just wanted to give it a chance. If it doesn't work, we can always go back to our lives. We don't have to be lovey-dovey, but just respect each other. Well, we will see. It's amazing what you've done for your brother after everything he's put you through. You say he's got no place to go, but will your mother not take him in? Even though things are going well right now, is moving in with your mum a possibility? And have you spoken to her about that situation if things get tense again? Definitely not the a-hole. He was renting a house before, but it was a pretty old, dirty, and an expensive apartment. I wanted to help him, and I invited him to live with us for a couple of months until he saved up for a new place. Our mother lives in another city far away, so he cannot live with her. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you love today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said, guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.